Hello, students of strategic management and security management. My name is Mr. Wayne, as you already know. Welcome to the third lesson of strategic management, and we shall be talking about very important issues. We shall be talking about the seven S, the 7S of strategic management, the 7S of strategic management. This is a kind of a framework that we shall be discussing today. I intend to start straight away by mentioning that it is essential for an organization to know whether the time is right for change. This 7S framework involves organizational change. It is essential for an organization to know whether the time is right for change. Not only an organization, even you yourself as an individual, it is essential for you to know when is the right time for change. Even within your family setup, even within your own business, and even within your overall organization where you work. In this context, the 7S framework developed by MC Kinsey Company, a well-known consulting firm in the United States in the late 1970s, can be helpful. This company developed this framework, and it can be very helpful. It can provide insight into an organization's working and help in formulating plans for improvement. The basis is to help provide insight into an organization's working and to help in formulating plans for improvement. The main thrust of change is not connected only with organizational structure. It has to be understood by the complex relationship that exists between strategy, structure, style, system, staff, skill, and the superordinated goal. This is called the 7S of the organization. So the 7S of the organizations are strategy, structure, system, style, staff, skill, and superordinated goal. Please note those 7S down. Sorry. Strategy, structure, system, style, staff, skill, and superordinated goal. This is called the 7S of the organization. I hope so far we are moving on well. I hope so far you students are understanding what we are talking about when we talk about strategic management. These are plans that are developed by the organization in order to ensure that everything is guided towards achieving the mission, achieving the vision, achieving objectives, and achieving goals that are set by the organization. This is what we are talking about under strategic management. It is a strategy, as we say in the military, it is a strategy used to plan and to organize everything in such a way that we achieve the objective of defeating the enemy. The 7S framework suggests that there are several factors that influence an organization's ability to change. Several factors that influence an organization's ability to change. The variables involved are interconnected. Hence, significant changes cannot be achieved without making changes in all the variables. Significant changes cannot be achieved without making changes in all the variables. The framework has no starting point or implied hierarchy. It is also difficult to pinpoint which of the 7S could be the driving force of change in an organization at a particular point of time. So the variables involved are interconnected. They are interconnected. Everything works in harmony with the other to achieve the objectives. Here are the 7S: structure, system, style, staff, skills, strategy, and superordinate goals. Superordinate goals means shared values. So we shall see there are the 7 C's of framework for the success of an organization in strategic management. You can have 1 minute to just have a look at the diagram there and see how they are interrelated. We say the variables are interrelated. We cannot say it starts with which one and which one. The numbers you see there are just for the purpose of illustration, but the variables are interrelated, and you can see they are 7s, and in the middle we have supercharged ordinance. As we continue, you will see there is a durability and improvement and other factors that we are going to discuss as we move along. Superordinance goals. Let us start with one. Superordinance goals. So number one is superordinate goals. The superordinate goal is alike to the organization's purpose. What is the purpose of your organization? What is the purpose of your organization? It is a set of values and aspirations going beyond the formal statement of corporate objectives. They can be considered as fundamental ideas around which a business is built. Hence, they represent the main values of the organization. They can also provide the broad notions of future direction. They are the shared values. These are the shared values of the organization, and everybody is working in harmony to achieve these shared values. Everybody shares the same beliefs, and this we say it is like the organization's purpose for existence. What is the purpose for existence of this organization? And you at your level, you should also realize that whatever organization you are working for, you should strive to understand these things related to the organization's purpose, organization's objectives, organization's mission, organization values. In most organizations, HR department fails because in most organizations, it is the responsibility of the HR department to conduct periodic trainings, periodic briefings, so that people understand what is the role, what is the mission, what is the purpose of the organization. It is also failure of individuals ourselves. We don't bother to understand what is the mission of our organization and what is the objective of our organization. We are now in free mode. We are just moving from end month to end month, but we don't really know what the organization is all about. So if you want to grow in your career in the right direction, you should start to understand these values, shared values within your organization at the level that you are existing now. Shared values are at the core of McKinsey 7's model. They represent the standards and values and other forms of ethics within an organization in which vision, corporate culture, and identity are the key elements. They are the norms and standards that guide employee behavior and company actions, and hence are the foundation of every organization. Shared values. Strategy number 2. Strategy is the plan developed by a business to seek competitive advantage in a particular market. A robust strategy is one that is clearly articulated, is long-term, helps attain competitive advantage, and is reinforced by strong vision, values, and mission. By using mission and vision, the organization's objectives become clear. But it's hard to tell if such strategy is well aligned with other elements when analyzed alone. So the key in the 7S model is not to look at your business to find the great strategy, structure, system, and etc., but to look if it is aligned with other elements. We already defined the strategy. You at least by now you can say something little about strategy or something or much about strategy. So strategy. Then there is a structure. Design of the organizational culture is a critical task for the top management. It refers to the more durable organizational arrangements and relationships and forms the skeleton of the edifice of organizations. It prescribes formal relationships, communication channels, roles to perform, rules and procedures. You all know about organizational structure, the structure of the organization. It could be hierarchy, it could be flat. Who is reporting to who, and who is reporting to who, and who is conducting which responsibilities, and who is conducting each responsibilities. In security management, we are usually placed in a very good position when the structure is in such a way that we are reporting to the GM or to the CEO directly, so that security information, which is mostly confidential, goes directly to the GM or to the CEO of the organization. But when you find organizations where the security manager reports to the HR, the security manager reports to the engineering manager, the security manager reports to sales and marketing manager, then there are likely to be conflicts, because you'll be required to contain these people, to investigate these people, and yet you are reporting to them. It is very, very essential. It is very essential from my own experience that security reports to the top management directly, so that you as a security manager, you do not report to any other manager. Having said that, structure represents how the organization is structured and which hierarchical layers are there, the way business departments and divisions are organized. This includes the information of who is accountable to who. In other words, structure is the organizational chart of the business. It is also one of the most visible and easy to change elements of the framework. Structure represents organizational chart of the business. Go back to your organization and establish, if you know the organizational chart, who reports to who and who is responsible for what and who is responsible for what. Structure contributes to reduction of external uncertainty. Forecasting, research, and planning helps in achieving this. Structure also contributes to reduction in internal uncertainty due to variable, unpredictable, random human behavior. Control mechanisms help in achieving this. Structure also contributes to coordination of the activities of the organization to enable it to have a focus. Departmentalization, specialization, division of labor, and delegation of authority help in achieving this. We are talking about strategic management, but I will also take my own time, see if I can squeeze in one presentation related to just aspect of motivation. That will be an added advantage to you also, to understand how are people motivated in the organization, so that they may work in harmony, they may work based on their specialization, so that labor is divided and labor is delegated equally and properly among the people in the departments or in the organization, in order to achieve the objectives and goals set. System refers to the rules and procedures. Both formal and informal systems complement the organizational structure. They are similar to the term infrastructure. Most organizations lack rules and procedures, and this is where we also come in. When we grow into our career, we become in a position where we are able to define or to formulate rules and procedures and policies, so that the organization is working in a very focused way. They are similar to term infrastructure. Systems include production, planning and control, systems, costing, capital, budgeting, recruitment, training and development, planning and budgeting, and performance evaluation. This is what we call system. Those things are included in strategic management in the 7S framework and system: production, planning and control systems, costing, capital, budgeting, recruitment, training and development, planning and budgeting, and performance evaluation. Remember, recruitment and training and development are one of the critical aspects of any organization that is likely to succeed. Recruitment, training and development. If the HR department is weak, if departmental heads are weak, that they do not conduct proper recruitment, proper training and proper development, then it is a never-ending story. That is why you hear most organizations, turnover is very high. because of lack of proper procedures related to recruitment, related to training, and related to development. Also, lack of procedures related to planning, related to budgeting, and related to performance evaluation. You find the organization is running in a cycle. After every 2 months, you hear that, this organization, people don't stay. You go there, you work for 1 month, another person is hired. You go there, you work for 1 month, another person is hired. So systems is very important. Then we also see systems are the area of the business that determines how business is done, and it should be the main focus for managers, business owners during organizational change. Systems are all formal and informal methods of operations, procedures, and communication flows. They are the business and technical infrastructure that employees use on a daily basis to accomplish their aims and goals. If your departmental manager doesn't come up with the proper procedures, with the proper policies, then people will not know how to operate. Even in a security department, you find people are running in cycle because the head of department has not formulated proper, effective working procedures and systems. Style. Top managers in organization use style to bring about change. The style of an organization becomes evident through the patterns of actions taken by the top management over a period of time. These decisions are also likely to influence the people in the lower levels of the organization. Organizational reporting relationships convey the style. Style is the management style of the business leaders. So style is an organizational becomes evident through the patterns of actions taken by the top management over a period of time. For example, it could be the style of the management that every 9 a.m. in the morning, everybody is present for briefing to start off the day. And then at the end of day, at 1800 hours, everybody is present for debrief. This is the style, how things work in the organization, how people, the dress code, how people behave in the organization. Style, what is our style? Also, it represents the way the business is managed by the senior team, how they interact, what actions they take, and their value. In some organizations, quality control may be embedded in the manufacturing process. In some others, it may be a separate function under the chief executive officer. That is why I said in some departments, the security department is structured under, the style is that the security department is structured under GM. In others, it is structured under HR. Study of the style conveys the process of management, which is prevalent in the organization, whether it is evolving or still having a traditional outlook. Staff. I've spoken about this one, but we will continue talking about it in a little bit more detail. Proper staffing ensures human resources potential of a higher order, which can contribute to the achievement of organizational goals. Staffing includes selections, placement, training, and development of appropriately qualified personnel. Appropriately qualified personnel. That is another area where we encourage you to go back to school and improve yourself so you become appropriately qualified personnel. You consider yourself that I am appropriately qualified. Staffing refers to the entire organization. The recruitment process may vary for different levels of organization, for different kind of jobs. It can start from appointing young recruits to the mainstream of the organization's activity and their career progression. Staff. This soft element is about the employees, their competence, and their job descriptions. Do you know your job description? Has your manager ever shared with you your job description, or your HR? Because this is supposed to be done upon employment. You're supposed to read it and understand it and see this is what I'm supposed to do and this is what I'm supposed to do. Have you ever found yourself in a position where you are asked to question a person over a breach of procedures or breach of rules, and the employee tells you, I didn't know that I'm supposed to do this? That one means they don't know their job description. They don't understand their job description. That one is also an area that is very important for you to understand. What is your job description? What is my job description? What are my limits? And what am I supposed to do? And what can I not supposed to do? And how do I do my work? And how am I supposed to behave while within the facility and even outside the facility? Skills. Skills refers to crucial attributes or capabilities of an organization. They are used to describe that which is found most in the organization. E.g., Hindustan Lever is known for its marketing, Telco for its engineering skills, Sony for its new product development, etc. Skills are developed over a period of time and are a result of the interactions of a number of factors, which could be personnel, top management, structure, system, etc. Skills are developed over a period of time. A company gains reputation after a period of time by ensuring that they develop skills that refer to the crucial attributes or capabilities of the particular organization. Skills concern both the skills of the organization and those of the employees and the ability of the business employees to perform well. They also include capabilities and competencies. During organizational change, the question often arises of what skills the business will need to reinforce its new strategy or new structure. Hence, when a strategic decision is to be made, it is necessary to build new skills. Skills in the 7S framework can be considered as the distinctive competence. Skills. Summary. The McKinsey 7S framework is a management model developed by business consultants Robert H. Waterman Jr. and Tom Peters in the 1970s, 1980s. This can be used to analyze the effectiveness of teams within a business as well as the impact of change. The 7S model is one of the most popular strategic planning goals. Businesses commonly use it to analyze internal elements that affect organizational success. The model recognizes 7 of these elements and considers them to be interlinked. Therefore, it is difficult to make significant progress in one area without making progress in other areas as well. Accordingly, to be successful, the organization should ensure that all these elements are aligned and reinforced. For example, I consider that many people can succeed if they set their eyes on certain objectives and goals. For example, you make sure that your spirituality is in good order. You make sure that your finances are in good order. You make sure that your relationships are in good order, both with God and also with your family and also with the entire community, including the church. These are some of the things that you have to make sure that they are working in harmony. Your finances are working in harmony with your objectives, with your goals, with your family needs, with your family obligations. If these things are working in harmony, because they are interrelated for your success. If you are not at peace in your own house with your own family, I can for sure tell you, you will not be at peace at work. You will go into conflict with other people because those things affect us subconsciously and they erupt in certain ways. The pressure erupts in certain ways and then it overflows to people who are not even concerned with these issues. That was just a by the way, but it is a very important point to remember that these things are always interrelated, interlinked. Therefore, it is difficult to make significant progress in one area if the other area is lacking. The model divides these elements into two categories, which is hard elements. Hard elements are strategy, structure, systems. These are easier to be identified and defined and can be directly influenced by top management. Soft elements, shared values, skills, style, stuff. These are harder to be defined because they are less tangible, but are just as important as the hard elements. The goal of the model was to show how 7 elements, structure, strategy, skill, staff, style, systems, and shared values can be aligned together to achieve effectiveness in a business. when we talk about this summary, we are just summarizing the things that we have already discussed, maybe in a little bit different perspective, but we are just talking about the same things. We are talking about the 7 elements of strategic management framework, and we are talking about structure, strategy, skills, staff, style, systems, and shared values. Shared values, we said, these are also, in other words, we said shared values are very, very, very important to the success of the organization. The key point of the model is that all the 7 areas are interconnected, and change in one area requires change in the rest of a business for it to function effectively. The 7C framework is mainly used to trace performance problems in a business to subsequently change on and or improve this. It is important that in this process to compare the present situation with the desired future situation. The 7C framework constitutes a good framework in which gaps between present and desired future situations can be traced and adjusted. The model can be applied to many situations and is a valuable tool when organizational design is in question. Common uses of the framework include facilitate organizational change, help implement new strategy, identify how each area may need to change in future. Those are common uses of the framework. Facilitate organizational change, help implement new strategy, identify how each area may need to change in the future. Then how do we use the 7C framework? Well, first we need to identify the areas that are not currently aligned. Look at the 7S elements and identify if they are effectively aligned with each other. Look for the gaps, inconsistencies, and weaknesses between the relationships of these elements. Determine optimal organizational design along with other members of the senior team. Establish what effective organizational design is required. For example, you may have a very good organizational structure, you have good systems in place, but you lack good qualified staff who don't have the necessary skills to achieve the objectives of the organization. That is where we say now, when we look at the staff, they have weaknesses. For example, in security, it's made of 3 elements. We have the people, and we have the systems, and we have procedures. You may have good people, staff. You may have good systems, but if you don't have effective procedures, then that is the weak link in the overall security design. By knowing the desired outcome, you can set goals and make the action plans much easier. This step is not as straightforward as identifying how the 7S are currently aligned in the business. Management may need to do research and benchmarking to find out how other similar businesses coped with organizational changes and what organizational designs they are using. So we may need also to do research, look at other organizations. I want to take an example. For example, Security 7 Limited may look at how Security 4 Limited achieved organizational change within the organizations that contributed to growth. You remember the KK Security Company, how it changed to GADA. You may look at how did they achieve this, and was it of significance. So this is what we call management may need to do research and benchmarking to find out how other similar business coped with organizational changes and what organizational designs they are using. Organizational change could also be triggered by change of management. Maybe the GM passes away, so we have a new GM. That is already an area for organizational change. Deciding where and what changes should be made, basically create action plan. This will detail the areas you want to realign and how you will achieve this. Implementing the necessary changes. Arguably, the most important stage is to have well implemented change. Do you have the right people already in the business to facilitate this? If not, you may need to look to bring in consultants to do this. Continuously review the 7S Change in one element always has effects on the other elements and requires implementing new organizational design. As I have said, for example, the GM leaves, a new GM comes. That is already a change in the top management. And a change in the top management means it is a change in staffing. This will affect style, this will affect structure, this will affect systems, among other things. Continuous review of each area is very important. Continuous review, even in your own personal life. Conduct continuous review of yourself, continuous review of your objectives, continuous review of your goals, continuous review of your progress and where you are going. Where you see you are going off trail, you try to come back to the correct line. Advantages and disadvantages of McKinsey 7S model. Advantages: considers 7 elements of strategic fit, which is more effective than the traditional model that only focuses on strategy and structure. It helps align the process, systems, people, and values of the organization. Since it analyzes each element and the relationship between them in detail, it ensures that you miss no gaps caused by changed strategies. Helps organizations identify how they should align the different key parts of the organization to achieve their goals. And then also disadvantages: it requires the organization to do a lot of research and benchmarking, which makes it time consuming and also consuming on revenue, which is also a very big issue in most organizations. It only focuses on internal elements while paying no attention to external elements that may affect organizational performance. You know, your organization may also be affected by external elements, competition from competitors. It may be affected by customers, change of resources. These are external factors that also may affect organizational performance. Even change of government. It requires the help of senior management, which may not be readily available depending on how busy they are. You see, the 7Cs framework requires senior management presence. And you know, senior management are usually people who are very busy, so they may not be readily available to follow up on these strategies and to make sure that things are working in harmony or in alignment. So just finally, the 7 elements of the McKinsey 7S framework in strategic management revolve around structure, strategy, structure, systems, skills, staff, style, and shared values. Please remember those ones. That is very important. The framework can be used to successfully execute new strategies, to analyze how different key parts of your organization work together, to facilitate changes in the organization, to help align processes during a merger or acquisition or a takeover, to support management thinking during strategy implementation and change management. I left this slide blank, but we shall look at one more area, just briefly: management of people. Management of people. Management of people is one of the most difficult things to achieve in any organization. Management of people is the direct control of human motivation and behavior. And this is really human motivation and behavior. I can tell you, it is a challenge. Human motivation, like behavior, is complex and a science in itself. Human motivation. That is why I say separately we are going to have a look at motivation. Human motivation theory seeks to understand human motivations and therefore understand human behavior to a level such that predictions can be made. The study of human motivation has a background or basis in psychological, behavioral, cognitive, and social sciences. It is just a science on itself. Understanding human motivation, understanding human behavior is very complex, and it is very important to strategic management and is very important to overall management in any organization. However, those existing disciplines are not sufficient alone or combined to study these complex topics. The behaviors linked to human motivation are linked to very voluntary basic aspects of our biology, despite the advanced cognitive abilities of man. The ability to predict human motivation and behavior is very important to companies and organizations, as they are always seeking new strategies to motivate and respond to the needs of their employees. The ability to predict human motivations and behavior is very important to companies and organizations, as they are always seeking new strategies to motivate and respond to needs of their employees. This in turn makes the organization more efficient and can increase profits or success. Human motivation theories or strategies can be classified in one of the several types: humanistic motivation, arousal motivation, instinct motivation, incentive motivation, or drive motivation. Each category of motivation theory or strategy presents value as well as challenges. Can you write these things down? Because I would like you also to do your own research, because I'll present to you something about motivation, but I would like you to do your own research also on these levels or these types of theories or strategies: humanistic, arousal, instinct, incentive, or drive. Humanistic, arousal, instinct, incentive, or drive. Then we say each category of motivation theory or strategy presents value as well as challenges. Theories of motivation. We have seen there are many. Let us just look at one briefly, then we shall look at the others later. Theory of motivation. Humanistic theories of motivation propose that human motivation and behavior are based on cognitive functions. Humanistic theory of motivation conclude that human motivation and behavior is based on cognitive functions. The principal theory in this category is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which was discussed briefly in the previous section. The previous section I just mentioned. Now, in this section, we discuss it a little bit more. We say Abraham Harold Maslow. Remember these guys, these authors, these theorists, psychologists who came up with these theories in management and also in other topics or other relevant topics that we are studying overall at Brandeis Institute of Studies and Forensics under Security Management. Abraham Harold Maslow was born on April 1, 1908. He lived until June 8, 1970. Was an American psychologist. He was a psychologist who created Maslow's hierarchy of needs, a theory of psychological health predicted on fulfilling innate human needs in priority, culminating in self-actualization. Maslow was a psychology professor at Brandeis University, Brooklyn College, New School for Social Research, and Columbia University. He stressed the importance of focusing on the positive qualities in people as opposed to treating them as a bag of symptoms. A review of General Psychology Survey published in 2002 ranked Maslow as the 10th most cited psychologist of the 20th century. A review of General Psychology Survey published in 2002 ranked Maslow as the 10th most cited psychologist of the 20th century. That's very interesting. Maslow's theory outlines 5 basic needs: psychological needs, safety needs, belongingness or love, esteem, and self-actualization. These needs are represented as hierarchical, meaning that higher needs will not manifest until lower needs are met. Lower needs, we start with psychological needs, are the most basic. They include the need for such things as air, water, or food, the basic needs. Security needs include safety and security. Job safety and security are important needs to employees and should be considered when evaluating basic human motivation in the effort to form a motivation strategy within a business. And then also, social needs include love and affection, but also belonging. The sense of belonging or inclusion in groups or projects should be an important factor in job satisfaction and commitment. And then esteem needs include self-esteem, personal worth, social recognition, and accomplishment. These needs directly definitely translate to business in terms of salary, promotion, and recognition. And then finally, self-actualizing needs are at the highest levels of needs and are more self-focused, including things like lifetime achievement or just fully realizing one's potential. Maslow, 1943. Have an interest in reading about these theories, these psychologists. These issues are very interesting. Just reading about them opens your mind into how the world works, into how people think, into how psychologists think, into how authors think. Have the interest to read. At Brand Institute of Studies and Forensics, we want to develop you into that direction, that you have an interest, that even at your workplace, you can just sit and read a publication about Abraham Maslow as a psychologist who came up with this theory. And then you can see the kind of hierarchical structure that Maslow brought in. He said you must first meet the basic needs, then it comes to safety needs, then social needs, then self-esteem needs, then self-actualization. These things happen from the basic. You first need to have food, air, water, the basic needs, before you can start to think about safety and other things. When you start to think about safety and security, then you start to think about social needs of love and belonging and whatever as you move up. We shall discuss these things in detail in our presentation about motivation. When we shall talk about motivation, we shall discuss a little of these things. No, in detail, we are going to talk about it like 20 or 30 slides. We are going to talk about it. So today we were talking about the 7S framework of strategic management, and we have seen what is involved in this, and we have spoken a little bit about motivation. We shall continue from that point in our next presentation. So thank you very much.